Recap. Alchemy Emperor of the Divine Dao, Chapter 1147. Chapter. In the vast gathering grounds of the majestic heaven sect, where stones marked the seats of chosen prodigies and the air itself trembled faintly with restrained power, Ling Han stood as calm as a still lake beneath a storm. Before him, Gan Shiyun's gaze burned like blazing fire, sharp and oppressive, carrying the weight of her fury. Yet Ling Han, unmoved by her killing intent, simply reached into his spatial spirit tool and retrieved a divine fruit. Without even sparing her a glance, he bit into it with casual ease, as though he were merely enjoying an ordinary snack beneath the afternoon sun. This fruit was no trivial object. It was a level 2 divine fruit, something many would treat as a precious treasure. And yet in Ling Han's hands, it was nothing more than a simple treat to pass the time. The surrounding disciples could not help but feel a jolt in their hearts as they watched. Such extravagance, such disregard for value. It was almost offensive. Gan Shiyun's chest rose and fell as her anger surged like a rising tide. This man, he was ignoring her entirely. Her glare, sharp enough to pierce steel, was treated as though it were nothing but a passing breeze. "Damn it!" her heart roared in silence. Yet Ling Han remained utterly indifferent, as if the world itself could not disturb his composure. As time flowed on, more disciples arrived, their figures descending one after another like stars gathering in the sky. When the sun reached its zenith, blazing directly overhead, no more arrivals came. Every stone seat had been claimed. Those who remained standing lingered along the outer edges. They were followers, individuals without the qualifications to step into the circle of true seeds. Their presence was quiet, respectful, yet filled with longing. The number of stone seats matched exactly the number of seeds. Since every seat was occupied, it meant one thing. Every invited prodigy had arrived. This was the first grand gathering of the seeds. Each individual present was a chosen heaven's pride, brimming with confidence, each believing themselves invincible beneath the heavens. Naturally, such a gathering was not merely for idle chatter. It was a stage, a silent battlefield where one's standing would be established. Curiosity filled the air, mingled with ambition and faint hostility. At this moment, a man rose from his seat. A faint smile rested on his lips, yet the aura he carried was like an unfathomable ocean, deep, boundless, and impossible to measure. "Hey, it seems everyone has arrived," he said calmly, his voice carrying across the gathering. "Some of you may not know me yet. Allow me to introduce myself. I am He Tao. I entered the sect 900 years ago." Ling Han's eyes flickered slightly. This man was no ordinary cultivator. His aura was concealed, yet it pressed down like the depths of the sea. It was vast, obscure, and profoundly powerful. Ling Han immediately deduced that He Tao had most likely formed a fifth mountain and river. In another place, such a feat would be unimaginable. But here, this was the majestic heaven sect, a place where monstrous geniuses gathered like clouds. Elder Hai Yun had once mentioned that among the seeds at the mountain river tier, there were 7 who had formed 5 mountains and rivers, including Ling Han himself, and that count only referred to the mountain river tier. If one included the sun-moon tier, the number would undoubtedly be even greater. He Tao, so that's him. He's among the top 5 seeds at the mountain river tier. And look beside him, that's Wu Jie. He's on par with He Tao. Together with Wu Wentong, Shi Angguo Shenzhenjue, and Kuang Peishan, they are known as the 6 Small Kings. Whispers spread quietly among the crowd. Through these murmurs, Ling Han pieced together the situation. The so-called 6 Small Kings were 6 supreme prodigies at the mountain river tier, all of whom had successfully formed 5 mountains and rivers. They were the peak among peaks. He Tao chuckled softly, his sleeve swaying as he spoke again. "Since this is a tea gathering, naturally, tea must be present." With a flick of his wrist, he retrieved a small cauldron from his spatial spirit tool and placed a teapot upon it. Then, raising his hand, he summoned flames. But these were no ordinary flames. They danced like living spirits, woven with divine patterns, manifestations of the great Tao itself. The fire of regulations burned fiercely, radiating an ancient and profound aura. Such flames could melt ordinary metals in an instant. Even level 4 godly metal might not withstand their heat for long. And yet, the small cauldron beneath the teapot remained utterly unchanged. It did not glow, it did not warp, it did not show even the slightest sign of melting. Linghan's gaze sharpened. This cauldron was extraordinary. Yet his thoughts did not linger on admiration. Instead, a single idea surfaced in his mind. He wanted to shatter it, refine it, and use it to enhance the grade of his divine demon sword. Time passed. Under such terrifying divine flames, the water within should have boiled almost instantly. But half an hour slipped by, and not even a trace of steam emerged from the spout. Hitao smiled faintly at the puzzled expressions around him. "There is extreme night frosty ice inside," he explained calmly. "It will take some time to melt." He paused briefly before continuing. "This gathering will last 4 or 5 days. Why don't we begin with Dao discussions first? The tea can wait." "Extreme night frosty ice?" A wave of astonishment swept through the crowd. Some disciples were unfamiliar with the term, but as others explained, their expressions quickly shifted to shock. "This ice only forms in the far southern reaches of the flying cloud planet. That land is eternally frozen, covered in endless snow and ice. There are countless hidden ice caves beneath the surface. One misstep, and even a cultivator could fall in and be sealed forever. Even Sun-Moon tier elites avoid that place. It holds no valuable herbs or demonic beasts. Yet this ice, it is formed from the unique great Dao of that region. Consuming it allows one to comprehend the essence of ice. Ordinary mountain river tier cultivators would be frozen instantly upon contact." Gasps echoed one after another. "As expected of senior brother he, to obtain such a treasure, truly astonishing." Though pride ran deep within every prodigy present, the truth stood undeniable before them. To recognize strength was not weakness, it was the foundation of surpassing it. Thus admiration filled their gazes. Hitao merely smiled, continuing to refine the ice. "I obtained it by chance," he said lightly. "While hunting an extreme plain ice fox, I stumbled upon an ice cave and found several slabs. I thought it would be a waste not to share such a treasure with my junior brothers and sisters." At this moment, someone hesitated before speaking. "But with such a small pot, will there even be half a cup for each of us?" The cup he referred to was already minuscule, barely enough for a single sip. Hitao chuckled. "There is a separate space within the teapot. Though not vast, it is more than sufficient." Wu Jie then stepped forward, his expression calm yet confident. "Since Brother He has contributed such rare ice, I cannot be stingy," he said. "I will provide serene poplar tea leaves. We can brew them together." Many disciples nearly choked in shock, their eyes lit up with excitement. Serene poplar tea was an extraordinary treasure. It could assist cultivators in comprehending Dao. Even Sun-Moon tier elites might struggle to obtain such leaves. As expected of the 6 small kings, what they casually produced was enough to shake the hearts of others. Yet among the crowd, 2 individuals remained utterly unmoved, the Rain Emperor, Ding Ping. To them, such tea was insignificant. How could serene poplar tea compare to the reincarnation tree? That sacred tree could transform a single day of comprehension into an entire year. Moreover, they could cultivate beneath it every day. How could a mere handful of tea leaves compare? Wu Jie raised a finger. "However," he added, "there are only 10 leaves." He paused before continuing. "Thus, only the top 10 will receive a leaf in their cup. What do you all think?" Though the leaves would already infuse the entire pot, granting everyone some benefit. There was no comparison between that and directly possessing a leaf. Immediately, the atmosphere shifted, eyes sharpened, fists clenched, everyone nodded in agreement. In the world of cultivation, strength was everything. The strong reigned supreme. The weak could only accept what was left behind. The strongest shall become king. A young man leaped forward, landing at the center with a confident smile. "I am Fang Jin," he declared boldly. "Which junior brother or sister dares to challenge me?" His words carried clear intent. He was claiming seniority through strength. Another youth immediately responded, stepping forward with equal determination. "Heh, I will challenge you." The 2 clasped their hands in mutual respect. "Please." The next instant, their auras erupted, divine power surged like crashing waves, and the battle began. It was fierce, it was relentless, it was the opening clash of kings. Under the vast heavens of the majestic heaven sect, where prodigies gathered like stars in the night sky, 2 figures stood upon the battle arena, their auras already clashing before a single move had been exchanged. Their cultivation was not considered lofty. Both stood only at the middle extreme of the mountain river tier. Yet no one present dared to look down upon them. Those who could become seeds of the sect were not ordinary cultivators. Each possessed an innate talent that defied common sense. Fang Jin stood calmly, his entire body exuding a chilling presence. Frost gathered around him as though he were the embodiment of winter itself. With every breath he took, the surrounding air thickened into icy mist, and even before attacks could reach him, they would be slowed, frozen, and sealed within layers of cold. Opposite him stood his opponent, whose figure shimmered like a bolt of lightning ready to strike. His body seemed to dissolve into arcs of electricity, flickering and reforming in an instant. This was no ordinary lightning technique. It far surpassed the famed thunderclap ninth heaven. Divine patterns drifted around him like constellations, granting him the confidence to withstand even direct assaults. For ordinary mountain river tier cultivators, even those a minor level higher, these two would be insurmountable mountains. Their unique physiques rendered conventional attacks nearly useless. However, the crowd understood well. When divine patterns intertwined with attacks, even such extraordinary defenses could be pierced. Fang Jin's icy sword, forged from his frost aura and imbued with divine patterns, could wound even a lightning body. Likewise, spears of lightning infused with profound energy could threaten even one encased in ice. Soon the probing exchanges ended. Both warriors grew serious. Their auras surged. Their true power erupted. Though their cultivation levels were not high, their battle prowess was nothing short of dazzling. Every move carried precision. Every clash sent ripples through space itself. Indeed, seeds were never to be underestimated. Watching from the sidelines, Ling Han narrowed his eyes slightly. A thought surfaced in his mind. If he were at the same cultivation level as them, could he suppress both? Even he could not give a definite answer. He began to compare their strength with his own past self. In raw power alone, these two were no weaker than him back then. But Ling Han possessed advantages they did not. His fast technique, his annihilating Dragon Star arrow, and other secret arts that could drastically shift the tide of battle. More importantly, he cultivated the indestructible Heaven's Scroll, forging a physique that bordered on the invincible. Against opponents of the same cultivation, he already stood undefeated. Still, these two were formidable. The battle dragged on, fierce and unrelenting. Only after a prolonged clash did Fang Jin finally claim victory, by the narrowest of margins. Both fighters withdrew, their breaths heavy, their energies depleted. The arena was left open once more. One after another, other prodigies stepped forward to challenge and be challenged. Each battle was intense, filled with brilliance and danger. None relied on overwhelming cultivation to dominate. Instead, they carefully selected opponents at similar levels, or at most within one minor level difference. This was not merely a contest of strength, it was a test of talent and comprehension. Even so, a minor level difference could equate to a 3-star gap in power. Yet fairness in this world had never been absolute. In fact, those who could fight evenly, or even triumph, against stronger opponents would shine even brighter. Such feats defined true prodigies. Ling Han felt the itch to fight growing within him. However, among all present, only He Tao and Wu Jie were worthy adversaries in his eyes. The rest were simply too weak to interest him. He would not stoop to bullying the lesser. Thus he remained seated, observing. Yet observation itself was a form of cultivation. As he watched, enlightenment dawned upon him. He began to refine the integration between his fast technique and the power of regulations. At its core, cultivation is nothing more than the manipulation and destruction of regulations. He mused inwardly. If I can push both to their extremes, then I can grasp the strongest Dao in existence. But such ambition came with a cost. To wield regulations, I must first fully comprehend them. Without understanding, how can I control them? And without control, how can I destroy them? Ling Han gave a faint nod. Though each person here walked a different path, all of them could serve as stepping stones for his own Dao. Just as he was immersed in thought, a voice rang out across the arena. "I'm Ding Ping. Please!" Ling Han's gaze snapped upward. His disciple had stepped onto the stage. Standing opposite Ding Ping was a young woman, her figure graceful and her appearance striking. Draped in a long crimson dress, she radiated a brilliance that was both dazzling and enchanting. At the sight of her, Ding Ping's face flushed red. He was still young, and his years had been spent mostly in seclusion, cultivating in isolation. Compared to others, his worldly experience was sorely lacking. "Lan Luan," the young woman declared, and without hesitation she launched forward. Her weapon was a sword. With a single thrust, boundless sword chi surged outward like a raging tide. The very fabric of space tore apart, forming countless cracks that distorted the surroundings. This was not a lethal move in itself, but it was exceedingly troublesome. The distortion of space would disrupt movement. A step that should have covered 15 meters might only reach 9. Worse still, direction could be altered, causing attacks to miss or movements to falter. The moment Ding Ping entered combat, the blush on his face vanished completely, his eyes sharpened. He had fought before. He knew the cruelty of battle. On the battlefield there were no men or women, only enemies. He would not hold back. With a thunderous roar, Ding Ping charged forward, his fists swinging like falling mountains. He was no ordinary cultivator. His bones were different, crafted by nature itself into a structure that could unleash power 100-fold. Even at the mountain river tier, this allowed him to elevate his strength by 2 stars. This was astonishing beyond words. At the shattering void tier, Ding Ping had already approached perfection. Now, at the mountain river tier, his base power exceeded 5 stars. With the addition of his innate explosive strength, his total power surged beyond 7 stars. 7 stars, and he had yet to use any secret technique. His fists alone were his ultimate weapon. Each strike carried the might of a god descending upon the mortal world. The spectators were stunned. Though Ding Ping had been in the sect for a year, everyone had been focused on cultivation. Few had witnessed his full strength. Now they finally understood. This young man is terrifying. Power was the foundation of all techniques. Without power, even the most exquisite skill was meaningless. Yet increasing power was notoriously difficult. Most cultivators' strength matched their cultivation level. Surpassing it by 1 star was already considered genius. Even seeds like them could only reach 5 or 6 stars. 7 stars was a boundary that required breaking through fundamental limits. And yet, Ding Ping had achieved it. Without techniques, without embellishment. Just a simple punch. Was unstoppable. Lan Luan's expression changed. Though her cultivation matched Ding Ping's, both at the peak stage of the low extreme, her power was far inferior. She was instantly suppressed, unable to retaliate. But she was a seed. She would not surrender so easily. "Hiya!" With a soft cry, blue light burst from her body. From within that radiance, dozens of palm-sized birds emerged, their wings slicing through the air as they dove toward Ding Ping. A murmur swept through the crowd. Blue-beaked birds. "Ancient divine creatures. Legends say they once pecked a saint to death." Gasps followed immediately. Saints were the supreme beings of the immortal realm, the pinnacle of existence. And yet, these tiny birds had once slain such a being. What terrifying creatures were they? Over 100 blue-beaked birds surged forward. Their sharp beaks glimmered with swirling divine patterns, each strike carrying power comparable to a god tool. Even if these were merely manifestations from a mountain river tier cultivator, their might remained extraordinary. Yet Ding Ping did not flinch. He continued forward, punch after punch. The force of his fists compressed the air into layered shockwaves. Before the birds could even reach him, they were obliterated, shattered into fragments of light. Lan Luan let out a sharp cry. The blue light around her surged once more, converging rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it formed a colossal blue-beaked bird. Its presence was vastly greater. Its aura soared to new heights. The battlefield trembled beneath its wings. A new clash was about to erupt.